the office, a place to work, connect, and get your life together as you enter a new stage of your life. Along with new people, you may also acquire new relationships. But not Lee Uhengyum. Sorry, apparently, he's got rotten luck, or at least he thinks he does, until his manager Han Ji-hyuk comes onto the scene. Nolovezone is an ongoing BL manhwa made by author Danby and has 78 chapters, but as always I'm only going to cover the first 10. Since the last manhwa I reviewed was extremely graphic, I decided to pick a more lighthearted one this time. Or better to say, it was picked for me, since my honest reaction was,
I've never read this.
So this is gonna be fun. Well, I haven't got much else to say, so sit back, relax, and experience whatever this is together. Chapter 1. We meet our main character, Eungyum. I'm just gonna call him Lee. Lee is at the train station when he sees a man of his dreams, and as he tries to get his number, a woman pulls him back and asks him if he wants to listen about religion, which makes him miss the guy and not get his number. At work, Lee is sulking about the missed opportunity when his co-workers come around his desk and he begins to brag about how popular he was back in school. Another co-worker tells them off, and as they go back to their own desk, Lee confesses that he likes men. He's gay. Surprise, this is a BL. The group talk about a new manager during break, who's apparently only 29 years old, just like Lee. After getting a message from his lover asking for money, Lee starts to explain his love life. The current partner he's with never pays his debts back. He asks to sleep over at Lee's place, and Lee even suspects that he's cheating. Basically, every guy who's like Lee was either good for nothing or complete trash. As Lee's coming into work, he sees the new manager. And guess who it is? Chapter 2. Lee thought that working with this hunk of a man would be wonderful, but every time Lee gave in a report, he was asked to revise it over and over again. This drives Lee to the edge, and he leans against the wall, threatening to leave the job, but as he's doing so, he sees his manager, Han Ji-hyuk, smile at him, and he instantly goes weak. Lee stays in the office to work on the report but ends up falling asleep. He gets woken up by Han and, surprisingly, allowed to go home. Every moment until he goes to bed, Lee questions this weird behavior, and before falling asleep he thinks about his boyfriend a bit, but tries to stop thinking about it. Next evening, Lee gets very drunk, and as his friends try to help him go back home, he sees this fucker of a boyfriend with a wife and a kid. Chapter 3. Lee can't stop thinking about how his boyfriend cheated on him, or cheated on someone else with him, that he even forgets about his lunch break. After asking the smartest place on the internet, am I the asshole? Lee starts thinking up a plan on how to murder his ex-boyfriend, but gets interrupted by Han, who persuades him with a pretty face to come and eat with him. As they eat together, Han apologizes to Lee for giving him a hard time, to which masterful actor Lee gracefully brushes off his worries. Han asks Lee if they've met before, to which Lee responds that they haven't. To his surprise, Han confesses that he was looking forward to meeting Lee before, and Lee goes on to his what tangent again. Laying down in bed, masterful detective Lee thinks that Han likes him and sets a goal to make him confess. Chapter 4. Lee starts being extra nice to Han, bringing him food, drinks, vitamins, and somehow this works because Han tells Lee that he likes it when Lee comes looking for him. Kinda maybe a little bit narcissistic? This doesn't seem too problematic yet, so let's see how it goes. Eating with friends, Lee explains his love life to them and expects advice. What he gets instead is stab after stab of harsh truths from his friends. We find out that Lee only really runs after hot guys and guys who are complete trash. He somehow avoids the ones that actually like him. We get a quick flashback of Lee rejecting some scrawny kid because of his small figure. Wink wink, remember this for later. Either way, the friends don't give a single fuck and don't give him any advice. As Lee's going home, the friends pity him by saying that both of his parents passed away. But whatever, look, cute children! Lee comes home and brings his younger brother and sister ice cream. After a quick chat with his grandma, Lee rests on the bed and wonders about what Han's doing, and ends up falling asleep. Chapter 5. Lee wakes up and tries to go back to sleep, but his younger brother almost breaks his back trying to wake him up. The siblings eat together before going outside to play football. I don't care if there are any Americans watching this, it's football, not bloody soccer. Anyways, Lee gets absolutely demolished by his siblings, losing every time. The younger siblings ask for ice cream, Lee declines. The younger siblings use puppy eyes, Lee accepts. As the siblings are picking ice cream, Han appears out of nowhere and says hello to Lee. Remember how I said I never read this? I think I lied because the amount of deja vu I'm getting right now is crazy. Lee introduces his siblings to Han. Han pats the younger brother's head and calls all three of them Q. As the siblings point out Lee's red face, he thinks that if he had the choice to not fall in love, he wouldn't, and that he's doomed because he can't help but fall in love. Han smirking, y'all! Chapter 6. The next few days at work, Lee tried to avoid Han, and he does so by crawling under the table and, like an idiot, hitting his head against it. Before we continue, I want to emphasize how Lee thinks the confession will turn out. Ahem. I'm going to be the one pawing at his cock, professing my love. Absolute cinema, if you ask me. Anyway, Han comes to the rescue, and while Lee's flustered, he pats his head to check if there were any injuries. Lee has learned nothing from his past experiences and only remembered that Han's chest was sturdy. After the working day is over, Lee checks if Han has left and leaves the office, but luckily for him, Han pulls up in the car next to him and suggests he brings him home. Anyway, boring, skip. Lee confesses? Huh? Han doesn't respond with anything, but instead asks him if he still doesn't recognize him. Chapter 7. We find out more about Han's backstory. So, basically, at age 17, he was a wimp. He was tiny, quiet, nerdy, whatever. And remember that little guy that Lee rejected? Yeah, Lamau, that was him. But after graduating high school, Han suddenly got a growth spurt and got really popular, but still he held on to that small memory of Lee. Working together, it was obvious to him that Lee liked him. He first found him cute, then funny, and cut back to the present, he wonders how Lee will react to finding out who Han really is. Chapter A. Lee doesn't immediately recognize who it is and instead brings the subject back to his sudden confession, to which Han replies with, "Sorry, the face is everything." Getting deja vu yet? Lee has a mini life crisis as he runs to his friend's house to find his high school album. After confirming that the guy he rejected was in fact Han, he realizes that he's fucked and cries on his friend's couch. After contemplating his life decisions, Lee goes to his company meeting. At the meeting, he questions Han's intentions and degrades him in his mind, but Han tortures him with a task that he wasn't paying attention to. Lol, what a loser. Chapter 9. Lee spends the night hyping himself up and trying to find 300 companies for his assignment. When it comes to give it in, he only found 180. Han does not let Lee rest and even brushes him off when he suggests redoing it. After a meeting, Lee basically curses Han on the balcony and even tries coming up with an assassination plan when a group of co-workers notice him and invite him to a par. Anyway, Lee declines, okay, no one cares. Next day, Lee and his co-workers get a new product catalog and the new details they must do, such as writing handwritten notes and delivering the products personally. Everyone is clearly excited, and when they ask Han, he seems to be the only one who's actually enjoying this. You wanna know why? Because he wants Lee to do the work. Lee is absolutely pissed at this point, and he invites Han for a chat. Chapter 10. The two go to a staircase and Lee corners Han to the wall, asking him why he's doing this to him. Han tells him that he's softly torturing him not because of something in the past, but because he wants Lee to appear as a hardworking man. I guess this answer doesn't please Lee because he tries to yank his hand out of Han's, but gets sensually pressed against the wall by Han? Han asks Lee if he's going to hit him if he lets him go, and adds that he shouldn't be violent at the office before leaving. Lee is just pissed, like fully pissed. He starts thinking of Han as a demon, which I guess in his case isn't far from the truth. The entire night, Lee writes handwritten notes and concludes that he wants to avoid Han, despite not doing anything wrong. As he's sitting down and watching his younger siblings play, he sees Demon's hand talking to them. Anyway, 10 chapters are done. These chapters were a lot more lighthearted compared to last time, but I think I deserved a little break. Next time won't be as fun. Now that the two idiots are over, let's move on to the reviews. Plot. If we're going to ignore the second-hand embarrassment, then I genuinely like this plot. Sure, it's a bit generic, but it's so generically bad, it's funny. I like the plot twist of Han being that scrawny kid and getting a glow-up, and finding out that Lee's parents are dead was also a bit of a surprise. But the rest is just your average office slice-of-life game and plot. However, there's something about it that just makes me want to read more despite the embarrassing moments. Even as I'm writing this plot script part, I've already read to chapter 14 and I'm having trouble stopping. There's just something so good about it. It's basic but good. A manhwa that has just enough slight plot twists or emotional roller coasters to keep you interested, but not enough to scare you away like Lost in a Cloud or Killing Stalking. From the first 14 chapters, it seems to be like a perfect palate cleanser. fuck this 10 chapter rule. Apparently there's a confession scene in chapter 27, but I have to miss it now. Characters. Lee. I feel a little bit of sympathy towards him because of how hard he works and because his parents are dead, but I also can't lie and say that it wasn't just slightly his fault. Karma is a real thing, I guess. But either way, his character is honestly very engaging. From the energetic and ambitious side to him, to his more melancholic side, his character and behaviors want to make you know more about him, or at least what other sticky situations he's going to get into. Nice, funny character. Maybe not 10 out of 10 because he's a bit of a hypocritical bitch, but he's funny. Han. I get his point of view. He's a bit salty about the past, and now that he has the chance, he wants to mess with Lee a little bit. But don't go this far. He can clearly see that Lee likes him. Can't he just give him a bit of a break? Spoiler alert, he does. However, if you read for a bit longer, you can see Han actually carefully, because deep down I assume he still likes him. Salty, but still likes him. His personality is fine. It's a bit cocky, it's a bit funny, it gets nice after a while, but it's nothing outstanding either way. Romance. I feel bad for Lee's romance life, I really do, so I'm glad that he has a chance with Han. Like, good for him. In the first 10 to 16 chapters, there's more romance than there is in a decade of working in an actual office, and honestly that's something to admire. The romance is cute, and the little cat and mouse game they play makes their dynamic addictive and interesting. It's a good amount of denial, mockery, realization, and hidden feelings. Still, I think Han should have went a little softer. He's a bit of a dick. That was nice. I can feel my palate being cleansed and ready for the next abominably monstrous creation I have to read. Speaking of monstrosity, please comment down what other manhwas you'd like me to review, or anything else you'd like to see. I hope you're enjoying the new Lian plush format. Follow my socials, and thank you for watching. Okay, bye, I'm taking a nap.